Welcome to another episode of the Plutus Awards podcast. Our community is filled with hundreds of stories from creators and entrepreneurs just like you. And through this show, we share these stories of challenges and successes from bloggers to podcasters, from writers, speakers, and more. I'm your host, Michelle Jackson. Today's guest is Marcia Armstrong, and she talks about committing the sin of inconsistency. In this episode, she shares how 2 mini zero revenue months forced her to look at her business and the steps she took to turn things around in a little over 30 days once she committed to actually focusing and being committed.
My name is Marcia Armstrong, and I am an award-winning financial coach, and I help working professional women see money differently so that they can create generational wealth.
How did you get into this? And you have a wee bit of an accent, so if you could share where you're from, that would also be interesting too.
Yes, I am from the beautiful island of Barbados. 166 square miles. We have approximately 287,000 people. So we are a small island, but I always say we create big impact. How we would have gotten started in business, really and truly, I actually was laid off in 2020. I went into full-time entrepreneurship in 2021, but A Purpose Life, which is my coaching and consulting firm, was really start from a prayer. It came through personal breakthrough. I was experiencing a particular part of my life where I was given to persons that would have helped someone at that particular time with their rent. They wanted assistance paying their rent. I paid the rent, and I realized that every time I give, I was literally waiting on my next paycheck. And I had a conversation with God, a very straight up conversation as I usually do. And I said, God, I'm helping persons. I love what I do, but I realized that every time I give to people, I am waiting on my next paycheck. Like something, I need more money. I need more money to do good things, to do more things in the world. And when I actually had paused and I'm moving just to hear what he would have responded and said, it was along the lines of, you don't need more money. You need to steward what I give you better. It made me really and truly pause. I was like, what? And coming out of that prayer, all of a sudden, I honestly described the experience like if scales fell off my eyes, and I was able to actually see how I was managing my resources. And I really learned a lot about financial literacy. I came across persons in the space such as Dave Ramsey and his and her money. And I never knew about these persons before the conversation, but it's like a whole floodgate opened where all this information became accessible. I listened to podcasts, I read the books, and I started to then pray about it as well too, because I implemented some biblical wealth strategies as well. And given that conversation, I was able to become debt-free 1 year later. And I was able to have a fully funded emergency fund. I was able to have money in the bank. And when I think about the experience, really and truly, God answered the prayer. When I said I wanted more money, he allowed me to become debt-free. And that freed up money that I would not have been, I would have still been restricted to if I did not raise my hand and ask the question. Because of that experience, I didn't want to stop there. I realized, there are many other women in particularly that will want assistance with getting out of debt, will want assistance knowing how to manage their money, but not just manage their money, because I also became a different person. So at A Purpose Life, we also help you to redefine who you are and to redefine what a wealth means to you.
You go through this very transformative experience that also, I'm sure, had a lot of self-reflection along the way, and you start this business. What was it like in the beginning, starting your business? And what were some of the general things that surprised you about creating a online brand around solving this problem? What were some of the problems you experienced doing this as an entrepreneur?
Well, the road for me was not easy. What I will say is that I did have the finances. Normally, persons start a business and don't already have much money to start with. But I did have finances because I would have been, been laid off in 2020, as I said, and I got paid out. So I did have resources in regards to finances, but I would tell you that I had to switch my mindset from being an employee to an entrepreneur. That was really, really hard because, you're so accustomed working for other people. I was still a worker bee in my own business. And I realized that, a business is supposed to create a level of freedom, but I was still a slave to my business. I was putting in all the hours, and I know you have to put in that sweat equity early in your business. But I felt like if it was still at my 9 to 5, and there were many parts of business that I did not understand. I never understood, marketing and sales, which are two beasts in themselves, because I was normally a person, or I have a bubbly personality. I was usually the person in the background making things happen. And here it was now in the online business, I have to become visible. I have to let persons know who I am. I had to open up about my story. Sometimes we tend to keep parts of our story to ourselves because we tell ourselves, what, I'm too embarrassed, or I'm too ashamed to share this part of my story, or I don't want people in my business. But I realized that it was bigger than me. It was really the women I have been called to serve. So I can't keep quiet about it. I have to be very visible. I have to be authentic in what I do as well too. So it was a learning curve for me. When it comes to online business, you realize that there are so many people that offer a solution. So you have to have wisdom. You have to have discernment in regards to who you even connect with, because you don't know who's really legit and who isn't. I really had to learn. As I said, it was a learning curve for me. And I realized that I learned a lot. Although I have my MBA, I realized that I actually learned a lot about business from a practical perspective, whether that meant me joining various online groups, connecting with people that had similar businesses, to just kind of have an idea, especially in regards to your potential clients, what their pain points were, and being able to address that, but still stay true to who you are as well.
In this season of the Plutus Awards podcast, we're talking about the 7 deadly sins, if you will, that a content creator in this space can make, or really a mistake. And you had said that you would be interested in discussing consistency. And I would love for you to share what you think was a mistake that you made around that, and just kind of share a lesson learned along the way in relation to consistency.
Consistency, one of the major things for me was not being committed to the process. We want to be able to get results, right? But if you aren't showing up, you're doing yourself a disservice. And I realized that sometimes we can be our own bottleneck in our business. We are the persons that can become our own obstacle because we allow things like fear to show up. We allow things like doubt to show up, or even imposter syndrome to show up, because it's like, who are you? Who do you think you are to be able to advise people? Or you might see other people in the space, start to compare yourself, not understanding that your histories are different. Your stories are different. Your experiences are different. So I realized that when it comes to consistency, if you don't show up, especially if you're online, if you do not show up, you can be easily forgotten. I think one of the things I definitely learned was that, it is not about me. It is about who I'm here to be able to serve. And the day that I don't show up, the day I'm not consistent in what I'm doing, really and truly, I'm telling that person that is relying on my yes, that what they're going through doesn't matter, because we make it all about ourselves. And that is how the spirit of pride could kind of ease into things as well too, because we make it all about us. But really and truly, when you are being consistent, is a daily commitment to show up and allow yourself to understand. You have to put function over feelings, because we might not feel like doing something today. We might not feel like speaking today. We might not feel like being on video or even writing today, but it is to understand the function and the role that you carry. It goes beyond your feelings. And that is definitely one of the highlights of consistency for me. It is being able to recognize, hey, every day is not harvest day. Some days you got to plow.
I love that. I want you to be a little more candid. If you could share some very candid examples of where inconsistency initially impacted your business, I think that would be helpful to the listeners. What were some of the things that you noticed? Oh, crap, maybe I need to not be doing this, or maybe I need to show up in this way. So if you could share that, that would be awesome.
One of the things definitely would have been my offer. Now, in order for us to be able to make revenue in our business, we have to sell. And that was a very big hurdle for me. So in regards to consistency, I realized that I will post everything else, whether to inspire you, to motivate you, to share my story. But whenever it came to actually selling, when it came to sharing my offer, it was cricket. And I think for me, it was like, I wasn't sure how to actually create it or how to bring it over without being like sleazy, as they would say. I had to learn how to get out of my head and realize that there are many ways you can sell. There's direct forms of selling. There's also story selling. There are different ways in which you can sell your offer and product. So definitely for me, I was inconsistent with selling. So if we have 30 to 31 days in a month, sometimes I would do it for 0 days or only one. And then you will complain and say, hey, I didn't make my quota. Of course you didn't. Of course you didn't make your quota, because if you look back at what you did, there were hardly any days in the month that you actually told persons what you do. What do you sell? What do you offer? What is the transformation that you do for your clients? It's like you're not showing that side of yourself. Persons can't buy what they don't know you offer. That was a really big one for me. So I had to step out of my own, I had to step out of my own mindset and get over it. You know what I mean? Get out of my own way and said, you know what? I'm going to give myself a task to sell every single day. And that is exactly what I did.
But how did you were you sitting there one month looking at your money and you were just like, oh, why is it like this? What was the turning point?
The turning point for me was recognizing that you will come to the end of a month and realize that you made $0 in revenue. And you're still paying bills, right? You still have to pay for subscriptions. You still have to pay for certain apps. So you're paying for all of these things, whether it is a scheduler to book people into your business, whether it is a CRM tool to send out emails every week or every other day. So you are paying for all of these systems, but you're not doing the main thing you're supposed to be doing, which is to bring revenue in to cover those expenses. That is the problem. It means that the way is not balanced. So I had to kind of get real with myself. I told myself, we speak about 10K and 20K months and 50K months, but Marcia, what are you doing? What are you doing to actually make it? You're not actually offering people anything. You're not selling people anything. You're not telling people what you're doing. What are you doing? And I realized that fear really played a really big role there. And because of that level of fear, which caused that blockage for me, and this is coming from a money coach. I am a financial coach, but we also have money blocks. There are certain money blocks that I'm still overcoming. But in order for me to be able to overcome it, I have to get to a place where I address it and I do whatever the fear is that is stopping me. I have to do it. I have to grow through it. I can't allow it to stop me because, as I said, it's not about just selling. It is understanding you're offering a service, you're offering a transformation, you're helping people. And in return, those persons give you revenue. Those persons give you money for what you're doing. So I had to look at sales in a whole different way. I was tired of just seeing $0. And I'm like, I have so much in me. I have so much knowledge in me. There's so much transformation in me that I can offer. Why am I not making any money? Why is my business not reflective of that? That was it for me. My bills haven't changed. My expenses have not changed. That still happens. Those subscriptions still have to be paid on whatever the due date is that it becomes due. So my thing is that I need to be able to step out and tell myself, you know what, I need to be more consistent in letting people know what I do. There are certain brands, you have Fashion Nova, you have all these different brands that push things at you every single day. Every day someone is pushing something at you. And I had to ask myself, Marcia, why aren't you doing the same thing? Sometimes people need to have contact with you 7 to 8 times, up to 15 times before they can even purchase. But if you just do it once and tell yourself, hey, that person might see it, and then go about your business, who are you really fooling? I had to be real with myself. I had to have the hard conversation.
Oof. So what were some of the logistics, or what were some of the steps that you took in order to make consistency happen? So like you had this moment, you looked at your revenue and you were like, this isn't going to work. This zero revenue, I need to show up more. What were some of the practical steps that you took to make sure that you went from inconsistently showing up 1-2 times a month selling to I need to show up authentically, with the keyword being authentically, daily? And what does that look like?
So definitely one of the things I had to do. So when it came to different aspects here, when it came to recording content in particular, I started to do batch recording. I allotted some time out to do that. And I realized that it took a lot of pressure off of me because it wasn't just getting up on a day and posting, right? Because that's, sometimes we do that, right? Sometimes we get the little bug or a little nudge. Hey, post without strategy, without a plan, nothing. What I did is that I told myself, okay, what are the results I want to achieve? I kind of reverse engineered it. based on what that topic was. I actually allocated some time in my calendar where I sat down and I actually did some batch recording. So I am now at a particular place in my business that I can batch record up to 2 to 3 months very easily without pressure.
Wait,
And
you're batch recording 2 to 3 months? Okay.
yes, I'm able to batch record 2 to 3 months of content easily, more so now than before. And also another strategy would have, so normally with batch recording, of course, now my main platform right now is LinkedIn. I use Facebook and Instagram as well too, but my people are really on LinkedIn. I batch record based on what my strategy is, based on what I want coming out from that, whether it is to gain leads, whether it is to become more visible, whether it is to be build my brand or authority or credibility in the space, whatever that goal is, I do it according to that. And also as well to not being afraid to reach out to people and collaborate, because I realized for me that competition is really at the bottom of the paradigm. Collaborations are at the top. When you can make money with somebody else, when you are able to collaborate with other people that may have you a larger access to your audience, is about just being more strategic in the things that you do. I have been collaborating a lot more with persons or with groups, and also in Barbados with organizations to do workshops, because I believe in a one-to-many model. I can touch people, yes, on a one-to-one level, but I really and truly want to touch the masses. And definitely, I needed to collaborate with different people who are also doing things in the space as well, because it's to realize that we are not trying to create things from new altogether, but it's about, being able to bring a freshness to strategies that are already in place already. And sometimes people might be doing things that you aren't doing, and you can collaborate with them and learn a lot as well too, and be able to give them value for the things that you do. So those are the main two things right now that I have been able to do. I would say lastly would have been able to raise my hand for more opportunities to be interviewed and to share my story a lot more. When persons ask for people to be on the podcast or whatever it may be, I raise my hand. I raise my hand because the more I talk about my story, the more that I am able to walk out this process, the more I'm able to let people know that regardless of where you start, you can be successful. And successful is really subjective as well. Just like wealth is really subjective. But at the end of the day, you define what success is to you. You define what wealth means to you. Those three things I've been able to do have helped me tremendously to be able to, on automatic response, get myself out there. And I believe that it has been giving me the returns that I want as well.
I'm curious what your business model is. If you would be so kind as to share what's comfortable for you, the different types of products that you have. And with this new process, can you also talk about this new process focused on consistency? Could you talk about like the financial returns? You don't have to necessarily share numbers, but I think it's helpful for the audience to have some insight into what your results ended up being so far.
In regards to what I offer right now, so right now I offer online group coaching programs. I also do workshops. So right now I'm heavily doing workshops right now, and I have collaborated with governmental organizations in Barbados. I also offer as well 2 digital products, because I realize, everyone might not necessarily have access to certain things. So by having digital products is a form of like do it yourself and done for you services. So if persons want a budget forecast for the entire year, that is something that it will sit down and do with someone. If someone wants to be able to become debt free and use my do it yourself tool, I have that available as well. One of the things I learned very early on in the online coaching is that you have to have a value ladder. And one of the mistakes I would have made very early on was just to have one thing. And I learned heavily about that. When persons came in, they got the result. And then what's next? There wasn't anything that was next. So what
value ladder is huge. It's
yes,
huge. And you go into Target, there's a value ladder in there. They get me sucked in, and I love Target. I'll get a can of Black Girl Magic wine if I'm having wine. I don't drink that much, but like there's that. And then there's thank you cards and a maxi dress. So sorry, I got excited. Keep going.
Yeah. So definitely, having a value ladder. So I would say, once upon a time, I used to do one-on-ones, but I realized that one-on-ones really, it pull a lot from you. And because I'm trying to really and truly help as many people as I can, I have been pushing more so the online group coaching program. As I said, done for you services, do it yourself services. And right now, I am in the process of doing my first financial literacy course. So I'm right now trying to build that out, because I'm trying to get to a point where I'm not exchanging my time for money. As I said, it is to get to a level as well to where you are able to really and truly impact people on a wider scale. So courses for sure is going to be the go-to for me. But as I said, I have all these options available for persons. But the main things I'm really doing right now, as I said, would be the workshops where I'm able to teach. I actually teach entrepreneurs every Tuesday in collaboration with the government entity in Barbados. And that's upward. I actually touch approximately 300 people per month in regards to that financial literacy course. But the workshop that I do for entrepreneurs. In regards to the financial aspect of it, I have been able to actually make my first 5 figures in business. And I'm praying and I know that once I keep on this thread, I will be able to make my first 6 figures. So I have been able to have 5 figure success in my business thus far. But my aim is ready to hit the 7. I see myself as a $1 billion person, actually. So I believe that by true consistency, though, true consistent action, not being able to, not taking my eyes off of what other people are doing, because we tend to compare ourselves to other people when they might be, I always consider it like a trimester. Persons might be at the level where they have given birth and we are in our first trimester and we think that something is wrong with us, not understanding that the fastest way to success is to move slow. Entrepreneurship is not a sprint, it's a marathon. I'm here to be here for the long haul. I'm here in this business to be able to be here for sustainability. It's not an overnight something. This is something that I'm passionate about. This is something that I want to help people to be able to be healed from and to overcome, especially when it comes to personal finance. And definitely I understand now, it's just about every single day getting up, being intentional, being focused, and remembering what your why is.
When you changed your process, how did you figure out what steps to take, and how quickly did you see a change in your earnings?
I would say to figure out what steps I needed to change is that you have to first document is like analytics on social media, where you were able to see what were the posts that performed the best, what were some that did not have any engagement at all. So it's really about sitting down, just like how we do like a money diary. It's to sit down and actually document your habits or your steps and seeing what worked, what didn't work, what could improve. Because the more you do something, the more versed you become in it, the more specialized you become in it. And I realized that from doing that, I actually was able to see change within like 30 days of what I would have done. And normally in order to implement a new habit, it takes 21 days. But within 30 days of really changing and locking in what I'm supposed to be focusing on, because we can be focused on doing the wrong things too. It's about really and truly identifying what is working for you and be able to take that and run with it. I have a business coach. His name is Lamar. He says, look in your business and see what are the levers. What are the levers in your business that, when you pull it, it will bring automatic revenue to you. And it's all about understanding, your analytics, what works for you. The things that don't work, you either set it aside or improve it, but you focus on the things that do work.
You changed your habits, but how long did it take for you to see an uptick in sales?
That's what I refer to regarding the 30 days. Within the 30 days, right? That's the time period. Within a month or so, I was able to actually see a change in my business in regards to sales, in regards to people actually coming to me. Because once upon a time, I used to do outreach. But now my content speaks for itself, where it brings people in. Persons actually come to me now and ask me about my services and my product.
I think listeners are loving to hear that, because first of all, you're right that you can focus on the wrong thing. Sometimes it's hard to know if that's happening until you're like, I'm not getting the results I want. The fact that you were able to be consistent and start seeing results within a month is really telling to me. And I think really helpful to our listeners, because a lot of folks are thinking, well, I'm not getting the results that I want, and I want to switch things around, but I might need the money. like I need it to happen a little faster than 6 months. Like I don't have a 6-month runway to figure this out. I think having the insight that you should be able to see a difference fairly reasonably quickly gives a lot of people hope that they can continue moving forward with their business. Maybe they have to do a side hustle or two as they recalibrate things, which is fine. But knowing that, hey, you have an offer, you're showing up, and then people are going to start coming to you as long as you show up consistently, I think that's gold. Are you using scheduling tools? Like, what are some of the tools that you're using to help you get out there in front of folks consistent? Because sometimes you just don't want to be doing things daily.
Exactly.
And I know that I don't. So now that you're batching, what are some of the practical steps that you're taking to make sure that your batched content is in front of people?
So the first thing is to have a team. I have an overarching idea in regards to what you want to be able to speak to, right? I for sure don't like content that's all over the place. So it's once you have that overarching team, the tools that I use right now, people don't meta business. I mean, it's the same face but sweet, right? Which is free. I use that because that allows you to post to Instagram. It allows you to post to Facebook. It allows you to post to your Facebook group as well. But for LinkedIn, I use Hootsuite for that. In regards to my CRM, my customer relationship management tool, I use ConvertKit, but I know you have MailChimp, you have MailerLite. There are different types out there. But again, based on your numbers and your volumes, you will choose what best suits you. But right now, heavily, I use Meta Business. I use Meta Business to schedule all of my content. As I said, you're able to post not only on the feed, but you're also able to post the stories. And what has made my life a lot easier for me, I actually use templates. So I use Canva. I love Canva. It definitely is one of my tools that I would never not use. And I'm not a designer, but I'm very creative. So I use Canva, and with Canva, you're also able to schedule from Canva as well too, but I don't use it for that purpose. But I also have templates. There's a lady I use, Biz Template Babe. Her templates are thebomb.com, and I use her templates and I create all of my stuff from that.
What's her name again?
Her name is Sarah. Her business is Biz, B-I-Z, Template Babe.
BizTemplateBabe.com.
Yes.
And Americans, because Americans don't.
Yes, she's Z. American.
Z.
Yeah.
No. But I'm saying the Z means Z, guys.
Yes.
So just as a side note.
So I use that.
Oh, there was a point where you said theme, and I'm like, theme. I want to make sure that the listeners completely understand what we're all saying. So yeah, you can laugh at us. What is the number one tip that you would like to leave listeners with?
I would say believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Because once you know the power that you carry, there's nothing you can't do.
And then what's the number one practical tip that you would give to people struggling, personal finance content creators struggling with consistency?
I would say definitely have a to-do list. I actually have a planner. I write down what my steps are going to be in a particular day, and I get up and do it, regardless of how I feel. So write it down, make it plain, as the Bible will say. But you have to be very committed. You have to commit to yourself. So write what needs to be done on a daily basis and get up and do it. No excuses.
What does your day look like? I think this is an interesting question because every creator runs their day a little differently, but now I'm nosy and I want to know what your day looks like. Like, are you working Monday through Friday? What's your week look like?
I actually operate from a place of rest now. Remember, I would have said in the beginning, I was a slave to my business. So I was putting in a lot of hours, but I realized being busy is different from being productive. I start my day visualization, meditation, just being quiet. My time in my calendar right now is set from 9 to 12 and then from 5 to 6. So I don't work an entire day either. I actually work a few hours within my day from Monday to Friday. I used to work weekends. I no longer work weekends at all because my weekends are for me. That is how I actually pace myself. And I'm able to feel it if I'm not still working in corporate. I came from banking. So that is how, so I have my calendar set up from 9 to 12 and from 5 to 6 in the evening, 1 hour in the evening. And as I said, Monday to Friday, persons are able to select their times using my scheduler. Persons are able to book their sessions with me.
Wait. I'm interrupting because okay. From 9 to 12 and 5 to 6, is that you doing like your content and stuff like that? And then your clients can book in the afternoon with you?
No, 9 to 12, 5 to 6 are when persons can actually book with me in regards from Monday to Friday. That is my time frame that they can book a session with me from 9 to 12 and then from 5 to 6. What I do in regards to content creation is that I identify a day in the week. I don't have a particular day, to be honest with you. So I have one day in the week goes towards creating content. Like yesterday, I actually sat down and created content. I have one day in the week that I do that. I have another day that I will do videos. That takes time. So I have a day that I actually do videos either for TikTok, because I'm on TikTok too, or for IG Reels. But I'm able to multi-purpose those things or repurpose them. So you don't have to work yourself hard. You can do one video and put it on more than one platform. It's about working smart, as I said. So one day for writing content, edits, captions, etc. Another day I do for video recording, etc. And then, as I said, I have my calendar open up for persons to be able to book their financial consultations with me. It's very open and it's very shortened. I do not work like from 9 to 5. I don't work a full 8-hour day. I don't do that.
I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I was like, wait a minute, I need more details here. Because I know I'm going to get someone who's going to ask these questions too, and they're wondering. And so with that schedule, you are getting the financial results in regards to revenue that you're looking for.
Yes, because what I've realized as well too is that although I have an online group coaching program, which is 12 weeks, right? That's a 90-day program. What I've realized is that a lot of people, given this economic climate, they want solutions like today, right? They want faster solutions. So I find that my one-on-one consultations have been doing much better than the 90-day program. Again, it's about looking at your data and seeing what works. So I have been focusing a lot more on sending people my links for one-on-one consults. Hence why I'm able to have those short bursts or short time frames in my calendar. And I'm able to still enjoy my life, right? I'm still able to go out and socialize and have fun. I'm able to do all of that and still serve at the same time.
All right, listeners, you heard her. I love everything you just shared. I will say, just as a quick aside, I work similarly. I don't do one-on-ones really anymore, but I definitely work a short week. I'll work typically Monday through Thursday is more what I do. The window is 9 to 4. Quite honestly, you've given me some tips that I'm going to rework my schedule a little bit so that I'm focusing on just video in a day and just content. I think that's been an area where I've made things a little too complicated. And so I like how you're doing one thing, like one type of task in a day, because it makes sense that you have to use a certain kind of focus in order to get that type of work done.
That's right.
I think that's been a slight bottleneck in my business, actually. So I appreciate that insight. If you could share how we can follow what you do and your TikTok, all the things, that would be wonderful.
You can follow my business page, A Purpose Life, and on Instagram at a.purpose.life, and on Facebook under A Purpose Life. On TikTok as well too, I'm under A Purpose Life as well. I also have a financial group. I also have a group as well that is called the Purpose Life Finance Hub on Facebook. And you can look for me otherwise under my own name, Marcia Armstrong. I'm all over. So if you Google me, you will find me. You will find me all over on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm just, as I said, because of consistency, I'm visible.
All right. Well, everybody, please.
Before I forget my website, how could I forget my website? My website is apurposelife246.com.
All righty, everyone, you heard it here. Please implement her tips, see what works. But I am definitely reworking a couple of things. When we talk about the different sins throughout this season, sometimes it's not that it's a sin, it's just a mistake you make and learn the hard way and adjust. And I love that you were looking at your revenue and you're like, I have no revenue. I have definitely been there more than once. And so definitely, I think sometimes you're earning revenue, but maybe it's not the amount that you want. I think these are great tips and very reflective of just the reality of business. It takes a lot of focus as an online content creator to generate this content. And the fact that you're ahead several months, it gives you a lot of leeway to do things and be proactive instead of reactive. And I think that for many folks, that can really change their business. Thank you so much. And again, listeners, don't forget to subscribe to the show. Thank you for your time.
You're most welcome. Thank you for having me.